Welcome to the channel SKS Education Tech Video Learning and Teaching 2.2 Models of Blended Learning, presenting by Professor S.K. Soni. These models of blended learning create different variants of blended learning, in which one of the popular model is flipped classroom blended learning. Blended teaching learning models are assisted by adaptive study systems and resources that allow teachers to fit the right student with the correct material in due course. Pavel et al. 2015. Graphically, four categories of blended learning teaching models have been depicted. 1. Rotation model. 2. Flex model. Self-blend model. And 4. Enriched virtual model. We shall discuss the relevant models of first category, that is the rotation model. The first example of rotation model is rotation of learning stations. For instance, in one of the learning stations, faculty is leading the classroom instruction. So, classroom instruction is one of the stations. Second station, in the same campus of the institute, students have facilities of internet and computing devices, so they can learn online. The third learning station may be a, a hall where groups of the students can work on computers and they can collaborate, learning different concepts and procedures and principles. So this is how students move from one station to another station, known as station rotation model. The concept of learning laboratory rotation is basically based on the concept of laboratory. Laboratory is a space where people work with some equipment and get some outcomes. So in the learning laboratory, the outcomes is the learning by students. So there may be 2 or 3 laboratories and students rotate from one lab to another lab. Let us take example of a faculty-led classroom instruction of some theory of technology A. Then another laboratory may be the students are given instruction to perform science laboratory and they are using scientific equipment to perform that experimentation. The third laboratory may be a computer center where students are learning using online learning resources or learning resources stored in the cloud of the institution. So you see there are 3 learning laboratories: classroom where theory is being taught, another laboratory hall where science laboratory work is going on, and third one is a computer lab where students are learning with the help of computing devices, the online courses. Let us now discuss the flipped classroom rotational model. In the flipped classroom rotation model, the tutorial sequence is done in the institution's classroom in the traditional setting, whereas the basic Aspects of the topic are learned by the students at their home using pre-recorded digital media available on the cloud of the institution, for which they have password and user ID, etc. So let us assume on day one what activity has been going on. It is a kind of rotation where students receive content and instruction in a subject online primary over the internet from institute's cloud while they study at home, controlling their place, pace, pace, and sequence of learning. So basic concepts are learned at home at the time, pace, pace of the student. On day second, the same learning experience is reinforced by the tutorial or workshop or practicing skill on the machines given and guided by the faculty member in the campus. The flipped classroom model is more in line with the concept of blended teaching learning, in which students' autonomy to choose learning parameters is promoted while learning basic aspects of the topic at home, whereas complex concepts and rules are reinforced in traditional classroom settings. Let us see the concept of flipped classroom with the help of Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive learning domain. There are 6 levels of learning in the Bloom's taxonomy. Starting from the lower level, remember, understand, apply. These are the 3 lower level of learnings. Analyze, evaluate, and create. These are the 3 higher level of learning. The lower level of learning are limited to course outcomes, and the higher level of learning are related to generic outcomes as well as the comprehensive program outcomes. So the lower portion is supposed to be simpler than the upper higher level learning portion. So the blended learning concept is used for self-learning by the students at home who uses the digital learning media stored in the cloud of the institution at home. Whereas on the next few days, when the students attend a traditional classroom setting, he his learning of lower level is reinforced and upgraded in the classroom tutorial situation, workshop situation, or practice on some machines, etc., in the institutional campus. So, flipped classroom is the home assignment is being done in the classroom, and whatever was being learned through lecture is being learned in home. So, the classroom has been flipped to home, and home is flipped to classroom. So this is why it is known as flipped classroom method. Flipped classroom FCR benefits over blended learning. As shown in Bloom's taxonomy of learning cone, flipped classroom has potential to develop higher order learning as compared to blended learning. Flipped classroom can be delivered using innovative methods such as classroom seminar method, to develop higher order self-learning, communication, and presentation skills. Lab demonstrations by students and team of teachers and technicians. Micro mini project based problem solving experiments in labs for integration of skills learning over 2 to 3 courses of lab. In this way, you can generate the outcomes of the discipline as well as the generic outcomes. The flipped classroom blended with practical project-based strategies can help affective and psychomotor abilities, including creative, research and development skills, and trade-related competencies. A more comprehensive variation of flipped classroom blending is complementing constituents to form and reinforce higher order cognitive outcomes. So, in variation 1, shown in the blue color, the individual working in home with physical or digital resources. Students are exploring and learning content in optional media available at home. And this particular learning is further reinforced at the institute using tutorial or lab work in the institute. And in the institute, in the small group, when the students are working, then personalized online learning proficient in making and using digital resources can be practiced. So students are benefited by reinforcement in the institute. The second variation is in the classroom, they are receiving instruction of some theory or of some procedure, and it is further reinforced using collaboration or otherwise. Students are learning in collaboration with its peers, and it is being reinforced in the classroom instruction. So these are the different variations of flipped classroom method. Let us now revise few features of flipped classroom method. Homework or home assignment becomes flips to classroom assignment with personal attention and supervision of the teacher. Classroom teaching is flipped to home by digital resources, by online, offline learning with short activities to sustain interest. It is reinforced by complementary peer collaborative learning. Teacher uses interactive, collaborative, practical learning methods in the institute, classroom seminar, and our discussions and our laboratory work or project workshops. Background is self-learning of factual and theoretical content takes place in home using classroom substitute video lectures and online resources as directed by the teacher and by the self choices. Features of flipped classroom. Interaction teachers with smaller groups. University Grants Commission has published a blended mode of teaching learning concept note, and this note is looking like this. It has quite detailed information about blended learning. In blended learning and teaching, resources such as video lectures, podcast, recordings, and articles would be provided to transfer the main bulk of necessary knowledge from teacher to student before each class. This then frees up time in class for teachers to support students in activities, lead discussions, and facilitate engagement. So, personal attention becomes possible when we use blended mode of teaching and learning as claimed by UGC. At the end, I can only say do some self learning and experiments to master blended learning and its models. I have given also the link where you can get sufficient information. Thanks for listening with attention and your desire to change positively. Please like and subscribe us on YouTube channel SKS Education Tech. Thanks again.